Hey sisters, welcome back to the Spirit Sisters podcast. We are so grateful that you're here with us today, whether you're driving, folding laundry, sitting in a quiet moment, or just needing some encouragement. We truly believe that God brought you here for a reason.
Yes. So welcome back, friends. This is a safe space from real faith, real women, and real stories. And today's episode is especially close to our hearts.
Yes, it is.
Our episode today is called From Broken to Brave, When God Rebuilds Your Life. And we're anchoring this in Isaiah 61:3 and Isaiah 43:2. And today's episode is only part 1. Part 2 will be dropping on April the 9th.
Yes.
So tune in, and we can't wait for you to hear this amazing story.
Yes. So Isaiah 61:3 says, He has sent me to comfort all who mourn, to give them beauty for ashes, joy for mourning, and praise for despair.
Yeah. Beauty for ashes, joy for mourning. That's God's promise, even in the middle of our mess. Today's episode is probably, it's going to be a good one. So if you're folding laundry, I hope you got a lot of it. If you've got a quiet moment, I hope you got a lot of it. But it's also going to be a really good story because our very own host and star of the show, Miss Jenn.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited because I know I walked with you through some of it. I was here for some of it.
Yeah.
But not all of it.
Right.
So I want you to walk me through the beginning of when everything started to kind of pigeonhole. So talk to me about that.
Well, I do want to talk before I really dive into that. I want to talk a little bit about how Isaiah 61:3 says that God will comfort those who mourn, and Zion be giving them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. These individuals will be called oaks of righteousness, planted by the Lord to show his glory, the verse and a message of hope of transformation, promising that the sorrow will be replaced with joy and despair with praise. A crown of beauty instead of ashes is a sign of mourning and sorrow. That verse promises a beautiful crown in their place.
Yeah.
The oil of joy instead of mourning. Instead of grief, God offers joy, symbolized by the anointing oil used in celebrations. And the garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. Those feelings downcast will be clothed with a spirit of praise and worship. And oaks of righteousness is a metaphor for being strong, firm, standing tall in our faith.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And planted by the Lord for his display of splendor. This is a season that I walked through back in 2024, where each one of these, now looking at what I walked through, is what God was doing. His preparation for me.
Yeah.
He breaks women in the Bible. I'm sure we can go through every single one of them.
Yeah, you could.
You know, Esther, Hannah, all of them. Of where
you're in the Bible, you're broken.
You are, you know, and I feel like, you know, we really gravitate towards and speak more to the ladies and more to the women. And there are so many biblically that he brings before he brings them. And so the beginning of 2024, around March timeframe, we laid my Aunt Jenny to rest. And it was a hard weekend. All of us were there. All the family came to Florida. My cousins, we had planned on scattering her ashes out at the lake. She loved the lake that they lived on, and my cousins could not do it. They could not transfer the ashes to the container to do so. So I looked right at my husband and I was like, I've got this. It's fine. Because I'm the strong one of the family.
Yeah.
I'm the one that carries it. I can do it. Everybody looks to me to be the strong one. Not knowing that was the first step where God was going to take me and our family.
Okay.
So that happens and we're getting ready for the service. Everybody's arriving. And I realized that my father is not there. And this is his sister, his oldest sister, the closest sister that he has. Like, he's one of 7, but unfortunately, we were starting to lose them. And I just remember looking and I'm like, where is Dad? Like, where is Dad? Like, something is just not. So I excused myself, went into the room and I called and he answered, but his voice did not.
There wasn't Dad on the phone.
He sounded really bad. And when I say, so for those to give some context, a few years ago, I'm trying to think when we were living in Tennessee, right after Addison was born. So probably in the 2002, 7, 8, give or take.
Okay.
Time frame, Dad was diagnosed with throat cancer.
Okay.
So, and so many years after that, he was diagnosed with lung cancer when we were living in Virginia.
Okay.
But when I heard him on the phone, I immediately was like, oh my God, it's back.
Okay.
I knew the difference. Like, I knew this was not a normal sore throat. He didn't sound like he was sick of a cold, the flu, whatever.
Okay.
And he was like, I can't talk. Call your Aunt Artis. That's my Uncle Bobby's wife. We lost him. That's my dad's brother. So sister-in-law, essentially, to give some context to those. So I called her because I knew she wasn't going to be able to make the service for Auntie Jenny. So I was like, okay, what is going on? So I called her and she said that Dad had been going through some tests and they were waiting on some answers, but he had not been well. He's not been feeling well. At this point in time, my dad and I have been estranged for 3 years.
Okay.
So I was not aware at the time that there was anything medically going on.
Okay.
And so we get through that. So fast forward to April. And we receive a call. Dad is in the hospital.
Now, this is in Florida.
This is in Florida. Yeah. Pretty much where all my family is. Okay. So this is in Florida. We receive a call that he went to the hospital, not doing well. My cousin had called and I was like, okay, she was crying. Like, you couldn't really understand stuff. And the things that were going on and what she was saying, I'm like, okay, I have the medical background. So I'm like, I've always been also like, don't think the worst until,
Yeah, exactly.
don't always really think the worst. Like, we always want to be like, okay,
this is
but also like, I'm like, give me the medical chart.
Yeah.
Like, let me read what's going on so I can better understand what's happening. And so we took off to go, Stuart and I took off to go down to see what was going on. In the middle of all of that and trying to figure out, we were also dealing with some friend hurt and walking through that season, not knowing what was going on there. And I'm like, that needs to take a back burner. I need to focus on over here.
I can't deal with that right now.
I need to know what's going on here. Right. Like, if this is return, how serious is this return? Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
What is, so we went down, we spent the weekend or a few days. He's real big about his milkshakes, loves his milkshakes. So we got to the hospital and they were wonderful. They were very nice, very welcoming. And I walked in and I joked with Dad and I was like, wow, you don't look like you're dying. You look great. You're tan and your hair looks good. So what's the problem? Why am I here?
Love the candor. Love the candor.
That's just how we do it.
Yes.
That's how he is too.
Yeah.
And so he just laughed and he looked at me and goes, Jen, it's not good. And I thought, shoot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, if he's really kind of looking at us and saying this.
If he's admitting it, yeah.
I was like, okay. And he's like, listen, the doctors are come in. Like, I have so-and-so coming in, and oncologist coming in, and I got this coming in. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess we made good timing, like, I'm going to need all these doctors. This is great. And so, we got in, I think it was like, it was lunchtime something. I just remember we were kind of getting hungry, and I looked at Dad and was like, what do you want? Do you want a burger? And I'm like, no, you want a shake, don't you? And he's like, yeah. Give me a chocolate shake. I want a chocolate shake. All right, fine. So we take off, we go get some food, but he wants me to go by the apartment to look at the paperwork. He's like, all the stuff is there. Like, the scan is there. The paperwork is there.
All the medical. Okay,
the table, like, he's giving me all the detail. Like, look at it. He's like, it's everywhere. And I'm like, what do you mean it's everywhere? He said, I lit up like a freaking Christmas tree. Of course, he didn't say freaking. I lit up like a freaking Christmas tree on the PET scan. And I was like, so prognosis is like, okay. Yeah. So I held it together. I was extremely strong. And I was like, all right, well, we've been through, throat cancer and basically stage 4 of lung cancer. Like, you almost didn't survive that. Like,
right.
We're not gonna, let's just figure this out. It's fine. We'll figure this out. I'll be back. Doctors aren't coming back till late this afternoon. So I'll be back before they make rounds, and I'll discuss it. Not a big deal, Dad. I got this. We've got this. So we ran and I looked at it. Saw the drawing that the doctor had made. Lymph nodes, throat, lung, hip, abdomen.
Just everywhere.
He's right.
Just everywhere.
It had metastasized everywhere.
Okay.
At that point in time, we did not know a secondary that would be coming down the pipeline later. So I said, all right.
What do we do?
Let me look at this. Let me read this. Let me see what's going on. What are we going to do about treatment? Do we decide on treatment? So we went and got the stuff. I had everything. We came back to the hospital. He was in good spirits, messed with the doctors and the nurses. We talked. And he, the one guy walked in. I want to say it was the oncologist. And great guy. Wish I could remember his name right now. Absolutely fabulous. So great. So nice. So sweet. And Dad was like, listen, you can talk freely in front of this is my daughter. This is my son-in-law. And so he did. He goes, what's going on? I was like, I think so. I'm like, but you can speak medical terms to me. Like, I understand what you're saying. And he's like, all right. He's like, this is what we're looking at. He's like, but hey, you know what? I can bat this out of here. Like, we can do treatment. We can do this. Like,
yeah,
we are not at the end. And I'm thinking, okay, but I medically know, so I'm like, and it's always that adage of doctors, anybody in the medical field are the worst patients.
Oh yeah.
Because we think we know, Yeah.
Absolutely.
And of course I'm sitting there like, like, what are we doing here? Are we just prolonging? Because I knew how bad Dad was the first time with, the lung cancer. The throat really did him in too, but just the 2 others. And I thought, I don't know if he's going to want to do this. And I don't know if he can.
Okay.
I just don't know if he can. So we had a good conversation. Stuart had walked out of the room, and Dad and I were able to reconcile our relationship right there in the hospital.
That's so good. That's so good.
I was like, I forgave you a long time ago. Like,
right.
I was like, I didn't know, and I think it was just a different person that I was speaking to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was a different person I was speaking to.
And you are being a different person yourself.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It just was different. It was a different conversation.
Yeah.
Really different. And that was all God. Whether he will want to admit it at that moment in time, that was all God. So my dad was not a believer.
Did you just, I'm assuming the conversation was like, hey, we're good. Because I know how.
Well, I can't remember what he said to me. Because what started it, but I just remember, like, I'm like, Dad, I forgave you a long time ago. That's part of it, right? We give forgiveness first.
Right.
So, I didn't know that. And it just was different. I'm like, it's fine. And, that was it. Like, we hugged, it was fine. And I was like, what do you need me to do?
Okay.
And, at that point in time, my cousin was on the paperwork and getting the information. And he was like, I really want to add you on there. This stuff, like, you understand it better. Like, let's get you put on there. And there was a lot of things that, you just do when your parent is in the hospital or somebody knows in the hospital, like family member. Like, there's just things that you got to fill out, things you got to do, conversations we're having, what we're looking at doing, how long is he going to be in here? Can we take him home? Like, yada, yada, yada. So I want to say we took him home and got him settled, got his medication and everything, lined up all his doctor's appointments, like all that stuff. Like, I want to say we got him home. But while this was a turning point, and this is why I said this was all God leading this conversation.
Okay.
And how this happened.
Okay.
Was that happened between him and I. I left the room to start to call family to tell them where we're at, what's going on. Here's the update. And at that moment, I thought Stuart was going to walk back out with me. And he's like, no, I have a feeling I need to stay here. There's a conversation I need to have with your dad. And what that conversation was about God, was about believing.
Mm-hmm.
And Dad asking the questions. Conversation that I can't really speak to because I wasn't in the room.
Right.
But I know the result of that conversation. I know that, Stuart was like, he asked, like, if there's a God, why do bad things happen? He's like, because there's evil in the world.
Right.
Like, evil was let in. And so while they were having this and I was on the phone, their relationship was different at that moment too.
Yeah.
Because not only are they really kind of having this father son-in-law type of conversation, they were talking about him at the center. So I couldn't have,
couldn't have asked for a better conversation.
Exactly. So get him home, all of that. I've got to get back to work because I'm still working at this moment. And for those that don't know, all 3 of our kids were graduating.
They haven't graduated yet.
We had 2 that were in college at the same time, the twins, and then our youngest was graduating high school. Right. So, our son, Bryce, was going to be graduating first in the first part of May. Our daughter, McKenna, the second part, and then Addison, the third part. Like, it was boom, 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 boom. And that was something he said to me in the hospital, was he looked at me and he said, I don't want this to interrupt those kids' graduations. You can't miss that.
Yeah.
As a mom, you can't miss that.
Right.
But as a daughter,
how do you not be there for your dad?
How do you not be there? So the next couple of weeks were a little on the scary side. There were some things medically that had happened where Dad was rushed to the hospital by ambulance. And when you're trying to call every flippin' hospital there is in Florida in this small town area, I'm like, seriously? Why do we have 4 hospitals? Like, what is going on? Like, it was like, well, I'm not getting an answer. Have you heard from your dad? No, I haven't heard from my dad. Like, what do you mean? I talked to him earlier this morning. We had a conversation about this that was medically going on. And I was like, okay, maybe you should call the doctor. Like, maybe, and I think it just got so bad that he was like, I've got to go in, and didn't let us know. And they end up, of course, the ambulance comes in, EMTs come in. Well, nobody's going to grab his cell phone.
Well, of course not.
So his phone is now at his place. We're trying to call him. He's not obviously answering. He's on the way to a hospital. Now I'm calling all these hospitals, trying to, so there was a couple of weeks of this. And I knew
Okay.
We're hitting the bad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This is coming fast. This is going to be lightning fast. I didn't say that to anybody. I just kept that internal.
Okay.
So the kids didn't even know. They just knew that Grimby was sick.
Okay.
They did not know, I don't think, the extent
Of just how sick he was.
how sick he was. So the first weekend of May comes the first graduation. We drive down to Pensacola. We are there for Bryce. He's graduating with his degree, business, UWF, University of West Florida. And the next day, I'm getting ready in the hotel, and I see my cousin calling on my phone. And I immediately turn to her, and he's like, I've got it. Because I'm like, I have to be present for our son.
Yeah.
I cannot take that call. So he took it. He came back in. He's like, it's fine. So I was like, okay. All right. I'm like, okay. He's like, yeah, it's fine. We're going to go. Everything's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Doesn't say anything to me. Not,
Didn't give you any kind of
no,
context.
no context
So you
whatsoever.
can't.
Just everything's fine.
Right.
Took care of it. We can talk to her later. No problem. I'm like, okay. Probably just something scan-wise.
Right.
Like, your mind just starts going, okay, fine.
Starts filing a little
So now we're heading over, to where they do the graduation, and I am like focused in, taking pictures, doing all this stuff. Proud parents, we're so excited. He's graduated. Oh my gosh, like all the things, right?
Right.
We go and celebrate. We're doing all the stuff. We're packing up. We're heading back to North Carolina, and on the drive home, I called Dad, and I want to say Bryce was driving. Stuart was in the front seat. I was in the back seat, and I called him, and I was like, hey, how's it going? What's going on? I could hear a lot of ruckus in the background. He's like, oh, God, everybody's in the hospital room. Jesus, I think I'm dying, And I'm like, okay, Dad, right? Like, all my family come from a huge family, a big Irish family. So the cousins are there. Everybody's coming in. And he's like, well, Jen, it's in the damn brain. And I had already kind of known that because per the conversation, his demeanor, how he was.
Was that him?
I knew the day in the hospital.
Okay.
I didn't want to come to terms with that yet, though.
Yeah.
But knowing that it was everywhere and they had not done the scan yet to know whether it was, and that's what the oncologist was doing. The oncologist I missed this, the week before, the week that we were leaving to go to Bryce's graduation, he called me at work. Stuart came in and we were on the phone with him.
Okay.
And he said, if it's there, we can do this. I can give your dad treatment. We can prolong. We can give him time to be able to. And I'm like, is that really what he's going to want, though?
Right.
Like, he's not going to want to live out his last days of life
on chemo
or radiation or all of this
being
stuff.
Sick and
like,
yeah.
I understand, but like, I just don't know, and I pray. He's like, but Jen, I'm like, I understand. I know. And I think you're a great doctor and you're amazing. And I love you and I appreciate you calling, but I just don't know. This isn't my decision. So when I was on the phone with Dad in the car, he was like, he said, I think it's best. He's like, I don't know, Jen, what do you think? He goes, I think it's time for hospice. They're telling me that maybe it's best. Like, it's my decision. I don't want to do treatment. I don't want to go through that. It's quality of life. And I'm like, yeah, Dad. He's like, what do you think? Joanne can't fill out the paperwork. She's hysterical. She's nothing, he's just giving her all kinds of crap and laughing. And then her kids were in there too. And I said, I think it's right, Dad. Like everything you've been through.
Yeah.
I personally, I don't want to see you look that way. I don't want to remember you that way.
Yeah.
And we know, like, with the other family members that we've lost, it's so hard to see somebody.
It is.
To go through that.
Yeah.
And I said, I think that's the right decision.
Okay.
I think that's the right decision. I think it's time. I think we call in hospice care. The last 3 weeks have been really crazy.
Yeah.
And I think it's time. And he's like, I agree. So, I sent pictures, told him whatever. He sent text messages to all 3 kids. Congratulating them on their graduations.
Yeah.
Thank God he did what he did.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, those that have twins know everything happens together. When one happens to one, the same thing might happen to the next one.
Right.
One gets hurt, the other one gets hurt. Might not be an elbow, might be a knee together, whatever, but they all come together. And I should have known looking ahead. So that Wednesday, we literally get back from Bryce's graduation.
I know you're
unload.
I was curious, like you're unpacking.
I think it was like that second Monday. We literally I was like, guys, I'm not going to see you for like the whole month of May.
Yes.
I literally
yeah.
We get home, we unpack, we do laundry, we repack, we get on the road, and we're going again.
Yeah. Yeah.
It literally was like that. That Wednesday we left, we headed to Ole Miss because there was a lot of things that we were doing, for her. There's
a lot of the parent.
There's all the parent stuff.
Yeah.
And then we were doing our own party for the sorority girls. And then there was something different with the sorority girls, like her friend group too.
And then the big sorority was doing a lot of things.
Like we were just like, it was something every day leading up and then, different events and all the stuff. And so, and everybody, the grandparents went all of that. And so Mother's Day.
Now, Mother's Day is graduation day.
Mother's Day is graduation day.
So we're at Ole Miss.
So Mississippi time zone is an hour behind us.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, I want to say 1:30 or 2:30 in the morning. Stuart wakes me up because I wake up because he's moving around and I'm like, what's wrong? And he's like, your phone keeps buzzing. And I'm like, what? Like I'm half asleep and waking up. And he comes to the other side of the bed and he looks at me and he goes, it's Kathy. And I said, oh my God. I have a joke in our family. If nothing good happens after 9:00 when you get a phone call.
Right. Yeah.
On my dad's side of the family, we used to joke about that.
Yeah.
If you're calling me after 9:00, this is a good call. And I'm like, this is in the middle of the night. And I looked at him. I said, my dad's gone. So I called her back, and she is just hysterical, wailing, and I can hear her clear as day. He's gone. He's gone, Jen. He's gone. I'm so sorry. He's gone. I don't know. I'm so sorry. Like hospice didn't tell us. If we didn't know, we could have been there. I'm so sorry. And then the next thing I know, it just hangs up. I cry, but I immediately run to the bathroom because I got sick.
Yeah.
My aunt was making her way across the hallway to our room because we had gotten like a big townhouse for all of us to stay in, and Stuart's parents were there. My aunt was there. My stepdad was there. Addison was there. But Addison, by the grace of God, the girls were staying in the sorority house for one more time, and they had Addison stay. So she would have found out had she been at the townhouse with us. Mm-hmm. But she was at the sorority house with the girls and doing a sleepover with them.
Yeah.
my grandma or my mother-in-law has some back stuff.
Okay.
When I came out of the bathroom, because they were staying in the room downstairs.
Okay.
When I came out of the bathroom, she was sitting on the bed. And I'm like, how the heck did you make it upstairs so fast?
Right.
I'm like, you got up here really fast.
Right.
Like, what? And I just collapsed. And my aunt like was sitting and I just collapsed. I collapsed. And I just looked up and I thought, how am I going to do this
Today.
I look at the time and I'm like, I literally have to be up in a few hours. How am I going to do this? How am I going to be present for my daughter? How am I going to be present for my family? How am I going to
And mourn the loss.
stuff this? Like, how am I going to pull in the joy? And that's where Isaiah 43 comes in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally was like, nope, because I carry you.
He does.
I will carry you through.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought, you have to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be able to put my feet on the ground.
Yeah.
I don't even know how I'm going to do this. And the first thing, us girls are like, oh my God, my face going to be so puffy from crying. So I'm immediately looking at Stuart. I need ice packs. I need eye patches. I need eye patches. I need to put something on my face that looks like I haven't been crying for the last 4.5 hours. Meanwhile, I'm like,
You're trying to get ready.
I'm just trying to like get my bearings. And at the time I was like, you need to call Pastor Sam, because at the time he was our director for our job and where I work. And I'm like, you need to call him. Like, he was fully aware of what was going on. Pastor Michael, like everybody was fully aware, but he knew like because of work. So I was like, you've got to call him. You've got to tell him what's going on. And so he called. He didn't answer. Now this man gets up and works out like 4:30 in the morning and goes 5 miles. Like he's a wackadoo. But
yeah,
we
don't associate with them.
Right.
We don't associate.
He calls back, and Stuart tells him, and then he puts him on speakerphone, and he's like, Jen, you're going to run the longest marathon of your life today. And he's like, you're going to hit spots and it's okay, but you take a deep breath. You excuse yourself to the bathroom. You have to think about McKenna.
Yeah.
You have to think about being present. Don't miss this.
Be a mom.
Your dad told you, don't let this interrupt.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
how am I going to do this?
Okay. And I literally was just like, arms wide open, looked up, held on to Stuart and said, God, give me the armor, give me the strength of 500 men and carry me through this, because I cannot do this alone. And the whole time was just Isaiah 43:2 or Isaiah. And I'm like, okay, I got this. I've got this.
I've got this.
Yes, we've got this. Got ready, went downstairs. Everybody looks at me and I'm like, I'm good. Joy's in my heart. Joy's on my face. Nobody knows. We go to graduation. We do all the stuff. We are smiling. We have a party for her and Johnny afterwards. All the families are together. We're taking all the pictures. Not a single soul knows what's going on
Or what's coming.
My kids don't know.
Yeah. Just so hard.
And we said, we're not telling them until they're all together.
Okay.
Because Bryce was coming up by that Monday or Tuesday. Everybody would be together by that Tuesday because McKenna was coming back with us. Allison was with us. So I was like, okay, we will tell them then. I'm not telling one without the other. This just isn't, we're not doing that. So that day we told the kids.
How do you do that? Where did you find the courage to do that?
Because the night we got home, I went up to our room. I started to unpack. And Stuart went to get me a glass of water, and I cried out.
Lost it.
I cried out to God. And I cried out to my dad. And I was like, I just need to know where you are.
Okay.
And are you okay? And I could hear him. I'm okay. But I just kept crying out. And Stuart came up. I collapsed on the floor. And he held me. He's like, I'm here for you. You just let it out, let it out. And I looked up at the light in our ceiling, and it wasn't doing like the flickering of like the light bulbs about to go out, you know? And like,
Yeah.
oh, great. The bulb, we got to change the bulb.
Yeah,
the bulb's
right.
out. You know, it's flickering. No, this was tapping like Morse code. And I looked at him and I went, do you know Morse code? And he was like, why? I said, look at the light. And he turned around and looked at it, and he looked at me. He goes, holy crap. And just we watched it. And I'm like, all of a sudden I said, it's my dad. So he runs downstairs, grabs a piece of paper, comes back up, has a pen. And he's just jotting down, and he's watching it. He's jotting down, and he's watching it, and he's looking. And it was like, he goes, I think I've got this down. He's like, it says, I'm okay. I'm with the 5. I'm with the family. My aunt and uncles and my cousin that have passed. My grandparents.
With the 5.
I'm with everybody. And I thought, oh my God, like how much peace that kind of gave me right then and there, knowing that he's with our God.
Yeah. Yeah.
He took that acceptance on his deathbed. So I will meet him again.
Yeah.
That gave me the peace to be able to tell our kids,
This is
where he's at. This is what happened. When I got back to work, my amazing coworkers, it's actually, for those that don't know, you really can't see it in our podcast studio, but it's on the wall. It's a piece of wood with the message written in Morse code. And of course, I lost it when they gave it to me. Because I looked at it and I'm like, is this? And Stacey goes, yeah. Because I told them the story of what happened.
Right.
And she's like, you're going to get that a lot. Like, you're going to see different things you're going to feel. And of course, those that know the TV show Stranger Things, my husband was like, listen,
hilarious.
this is not going to be the Stranger Thing bedroom, okay? We are not doing
We are not
You're
doing
not going
that.
to see to the light.
I can see Stuart, get a pen.
Oh, he was just like, we're not doing this.
That's
I'm
hilarious.
like, oh my gosh. Well, you have to find the humor. Like,
There's the joy.
there's the joy. Like, and I was like, okay. And so, yeah, it was hard. It sucked. It was, everything.
So we get through that.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Battery dead on your phone.
So we've told the kids.
Yeah.
We've got through that.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're starting to try to put the pieces of a daily life together.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me what that looks like for you. How did you get back? I know how you got back. You just jumped right in with both feet.
Mm-hmm.
But I also know the Jenn
Mm-hmm.
that is struggling
Yeah.
with how do I move on,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm still hurt and I'm still sad.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me what the next few months, few days, few weeks, what does that look like for you? Because you still have another graduation
Yeah. Yeah.
to do.
If
and
anybody's
it's
keeping count, we've only got two.
two.
We got one more
We
to
got
go.
one more to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
And then there's also coming up a wedding.
Not yet.
No, there's not the wedding. No,
Engage.
the engagement.
Mhm.
The engagement. So we know it's coming.
Yes.
We knew
Yes.
the wedding and the engagement
Yes.
were coming.
Yes.
So mentally,
Yes.
you're trying to be there for the daughter
Yes.
and be
Yes.
there for this next huge
Yeah.
life
Yeah. Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
So tell me.
Yeah.
So tell me how that looks.
After that, what are you doing? You're planning a celebration of life.
Exactly. Okay.
You're sitting down, going through all of that, trying to figure out.
And
how
you're the
that's gonna
one
look.
doing it.
My cousin and I are doing it together.
Okay.
We, also going to his place.
Okay. And having to
Go through everything.
go through everything.
Ask family members what they want.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was a big train guy, loved model trains. Built like the model replica railroad
things,
stuff,
yeah.
all the things, like very much into that. Had them, and he was very close to my cousin Ashley. She went through a rough patch cancer wise, and Dad was just there for her a lot. We all were, and we're very close. Joanne, her mom, my dad, very close. Kathy, my cousin, who took care of him, very close. I'm very close. So we made the arrangements because obviously I still have Addison's graduation the end of May.
Yeah.
Not to mention, we knew the engagement was coming in June,
Right.
and
you're
Addison had a big pageant that she was competing in for North Carolina Teen USA.
and you're also doing end of the year stuff with the kids, right?
At this point, we were
out.
almost.
Okay.
Yeah, like we were narrowing down, and so
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
um.
So at least we're
So
slowed down.
we're slow down at school, so that was a blessing. Have Addison's graduation, celebrate, do all the stuff, and then have the celebration of the engagement, and then essentially Dad's celebration. Everybody coming together.
Mhm.
And the crazy thing is when Dad had his bad bout of cancer, lung cancer, I had already planned a eulogy. I had already planned a service. I already planned what I was going to do.
Okay.
Because it was not looking good.
Right.
Like it was not
Right.
looking good.
Right.
Like they were almost afraid that they couldn't get the tumor out. And that was going to be it. So I prepare. Those that know me, like,
You're a planner.
I'm a planner. I prepare. I'm like, we got
You
this,
got
this, and
this.
this. Like, here we go. Again, there's my strong, like, we got this. My dad used to throw these Christmas parties, and again, we are Irish. So he had these favorite shots that were called like these buttery nipples. And I know it's pretty bad to say, and I apologize,
okay.
but that is what they're called.
It's real.
And
I love it. I think it's hilarious. I love it.
I had asked my cousin Stephanie, who I am very close with, I had asked her husband to be the bartender. And I bought shot glasses for everyone. And they all had on there Uncle Jack, Grampy, Dad. Yeah. And I knew that he was not going to want us to be upset, crying, like all of this.
This whole celebration.
It's an
of life.
Irish wake. It is a celebration of life. It is a party.
Yeah.
And his favorite was Johnny Cash, Man in Black, loved Alan Jackson, and John Denver. God love John Denver. I'm sorry, John Denver. I know that you were up there playing with my dad, but dear Lord, if I ever had to hear another song of John Denver, I was going to just die. And so we played all the stuff, and just getting ready for that alone was so hard. Writing the words,
well, you go from, so you get the news of his death.
yeah.
You immediately have to jump into,
Yeah.
I got to be a mom and I got to be there for my kid.
Right. Yeah.
And then I got to go plan. So your emotions,
Yeah.
you've got to all right, I got to put this one down and I got to pick this one up.
Yeah. I mean, go back. We found out that it was in his brain with Bryce's graduation. He died on McKenna's graduation. I'm planning a service on Addison's graduation.
Right.
Boom, 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 boom. But I'm also having to be present in every single one so that I don't forget. I don't want to not be there.
Right.
So that was my prayer for God to literally carry me through that.
And that was my question. I know the story isn't done, but I want to take a pause because I think it's really, really important that for our listeners who are listening, who are going through the same thing, how did it affect your Christian life, your spiritual life? Talk to me about that side, because that's the side that I
will say when I cried out, when I said that I cried out in the bedroom and found out it was a few days later that I cried out in anger.
Mm-hmm.
I cried out in anger.
Yeah.
And I honestly can't tell you what the anger,
what it was.
I was just cried out in anger. Just angry. And part of me, I think, was because I wasn't there in the hospital. I wasn't there when he took his last breath. I wasn't there. I needed to be with my daughter and her graduation.
Right.
So maybe, looking back, I think part of it might have been a little bit of anger over the guilt of not being there, but also the fact that I am still a parent, I'm still a mother, and hearing Dad's voice, this is not to interrupt the kid's graduation. Exactly. Do not let this interrupt. So that was his wish. Okay. That is your dying wish. That's what I'm going to do.
Right.
I'm not going to let that interrupt anything. You're absolutely right, Dad.
Right.
He was always like that for us. So, got it. There is not a single person in church, unless I told you, that knew what I was walking through.
Right.
Because my joy never left. I walked in. I had joy in my heart. Sure, was I hurting?
Yes.
Absolutely. Was I grieving? Absolutely.
Right.
I was grieving a multitude of things that were happening in the month of May.
Yes.
However, I literally would pray, if I'm angry or bitter, Lord, I'm asking you to take that away. Give me back my joy. Give me back the peace. Continue to give me the strength that I need. And I would walk in and serve. I'd walk in and lead. I would walk in and do. And honestly, it's not meant for me to walk into the church and be like, poor, pitiful me. Everybody look at me. This is what's going on.
Correct. It's not you.
It's not. No. Right. And that's where my testament, the story is because Jesus is the joy. And because I literally walk in with him, he literally carried me. My feet never hit the ground.
Right.
Because for those that are listening, this is only number one. I go through 3 more losses in 9 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is number one.
So if this one, if you had slipped.
Yeah.
If you had just wallowed.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what the next 9, 8 months.
Yeah. So we We do.
Yeah.
We're at the service celebration. Little joke of the fact that if you remember me saying the light literally was like, Morse code. So I'm the last one to speak. That's what I wanted. And by the grace of Dad and God, words came to me finally for me to be able to say. And in the middle of me speaking, the lights do. And of course, everybody's like freaking out. And I'm like, guys, it's fine.
It's Dad.
It's fine. And they're all like,
Yeah.
I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. Like, okay, Dad. Obviously, I did right because we toasted, we celebrated.
Okay.
We came back and life happens, right?
Yeah, you
Life happens.
start the engagement.
So now we have a wedding plan.
Mm-hmm.
We are looking at
You're
stuff.
full on wedding mom.
McKenna's going back to school because she's starting her master's.
Well, and you've got
So we moved her back.
Yep.
We're moving her back to Mississippi.
Right. Bryce with the
Addison,
job.
yeah. Bryce is starting to start his career. Now I'm getting Addison into college. And I'm like,
We got a move
what
in
is
day.
happening? Like life happens. Things happen.
Right.
We're going. And
Full speed ahead.
yeah. And then you breathe. And everything comes to a screeching halt again.
Okay.
Sisters, thank you for spending this time with us today. If this episode encouraged you, please share it with someone who needs hope.
We want you all to be a vessel just as much as we are a vessel.
Yes, definitely. Leave us a review, follow the podcast, and remember,
Your
story isn't over.
God's still writing it.
He is still writing it. And as always,
We love you, and we'll see you next time.
for part 2. We'll see you next time for part 2.